Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Weekly, your one-stop shop for all things sports, from the stables of Asen TV, Africa's sports, entertainment and news network. My name is Emmanuel Odufejo and I'm in the studio with Joaquim Idada as usual.
My pleasure.
Glad to have you here.
Sure do.
It's been a rainy, flooding, couple of days in Lagos, but I mean, it's all exciting. Have you enjoyed the rain?
Our studio is in Lekki. And since we were able to do this, it shows that we didn't mind the rain.
Exactly.
If we were not able to do this, we would have minded the rain.
We didn't have to paddle to get here.
Get here and all of that, but it was okay.
Fantastic. All right, moving on. Interesting stories from all around the world of sports. But interestingly, again, we'll be concentrating on football. Exciting round leather game. Let's kickstart it really. And for those of us watching this, you can join the conversation at home, wherever you're watching this, on Twitter, on Facebook, and also on YouTube. Our handles are being shown on the screen. Follow us and join the conversation. We'd like to get feedback from you. All right. A first story here, FIFA bans the Sudanese FA, and I think that Nigeria too can take a cue from this. So we hear that as it stands right now, FIFA has banned any footballing governments, footballing leadership, the FA, the Football Association in Sudan, and also any, so basically they've also banned, it means that Sudanese clubs cannot play in the CAF Champions League and also in the CAF Confederations Cup.
As far as I'm concerned, some of those decisions, I think, I won't call it suspect, but I just think we're making a fool of ourselves. There's no way the Sudanese government will be financing football, putting down all the money that is required in football. And at the end of the day, you come and tell me that they shouldn't get involved in the sports. We are not Europe. We are not Europe. We are not in America. In Africa, in Asia, and some other continents, I think Oceania and the rest, you find a situation where the government still pumps a lot of money into football. Then you just want the government to just sit and fold their hands. If FIFA is advocating that the government should pull out, then let us totally witness the whole idea of a situation where let us really witness it. Let the government pull out their funds out of football. And let us see whether FIFA will have this whole global spread that we're talking about. Football in Africa will die within seconds. Because it's the money the government is pumping into soccer. That is what FIFA is using to do some of the things they do. So let us stop fooling ourselves and let FIFA wake up from their slumber.
But I think the challenge doesn't go to FIFA. The challenge goes to the individual FAs.
If the government of Sudan says, okay, fine, we want to play the game the way FIFA wants it, henceforth, the subvention we are going to give you is the same subvention we give to all the various associations, maybe $10,000. Full stop. FIFA will be surprised that many of their events, they will not have participants from many African countries.
So are you saying that government intervention in sports
it's on the premise, it's on the premise that they give money. No. That I'm not saying that. It is on the premise that they are the one financing it.
Are they supposed to be financing it?
So the question now comes is, what is FIFA? Banning the country is not the question. What FIFA will do, which is clear, is look, it's just like when you go to HR.
Yeah.
There's a law that says you can give loans to your staff. You understand? But you cannot, the total loan you will give to your staff should not be more than this percentage of his annual basis salary. Okay. So that a month will not come when the staff will go home with zero amount of money. That is the question. So the rules should be clear. That look, any FA that is collecting a grant from its government cannot collect more than this amount so that the government cannot use that as a premise of wanting to get involved to interfere.
All right,
because
fantastic.
the premise under which they are coming in sincerely is that they are putting so much money into football in that particular country.
All right, thank you. But as it stands right now, FIFA has indeed banned the Sudanese Football Association from all activities until they put their house in order. There are a couple of persons or group of people who have taken over the Sudanese FA office and not allowing the executive committee to carry out their duties. So until they leave, they would still be banned. But moving on to more exciting stories. Remember last week we talked about the COSAFA Castle Cup for the Southern Africa nations. Well, right now, I can tell you that Zimbabwe has indeed defeated Zambia 3-1 in the final to lift the 2017 COSAFA Cup last Sunday. And interestingly, this continues the unbeaten run of their current coach, Sunday Chidzambwa, who had previously won this competition in 2003 and in 2009. Right now, in the space of 3 competitions, about 15 games, I guess he's had 13 wins and 2 draws. So fantastic one from Zimbabwe, who lifted the 2017 COSAFA Cup, and they had 2 players in their team who eventually went home with the best player of the tournament in the person of Knox Mutizwa and also Ovidi Kararu, who happens to be their captain, who went home with the golden boot with 6 goals. What do you think?
Congratulations to Zimbabwe. It shows they are doing so many things right.
And also Zambia, who took second.
Yes, yeah. Zambia is also doing something well. When we talk about African football, normally we always say Nigeria is the giant of Africa. But right now it's obvious to me and you that many of these countries have not only caught up with us, they have now surpassed us. Some years back, you could hardly mention Zimbabwe when you come.
Well, maybe surpassed us in terms of current form. Not really,
only current form, in organization, in skills, in skill
but has it
impartition
translated to maybe titles?
No. The question is, like I talk about darts any day. They say Phil Taylor is the greatest darts player that I've ever lived. Then you say, how many titles has Van Giewe won? Van Giewe is new in the scene. Just give him time. Because by the time Phil Taylor is gone, Van Giewe will still be playing. So there's time for him to catch up. So when we talk about titles, Zimbabwe, many of these countries are just coming to form. Even Libya, they're all coming to form. So that arrogance, that bragging rights that many African countries like Ghana, Cameroon, that West Africa, that's the point. Many of these that West Africa used to boost was because we had WAFU. Surprisingly, WAFU died and COSAFA is doing well. That is the reason why I'm telling you that there are so many things these people are doing right. What other African countries and regional blocs should do is, we should go back to our drawing board. One of the things that has killed Nigerian football is the absence of that regional competition, where we have WAFU. And even at the college level, at the club level, we do not see the quality of coaching we have even at the club level is suspect. And even when we go to the secondary school level, what is the quality of coaching? So that's what many of these countries have done. They have gone back to the grassroots. And over the years, those investments are now paying off. And now, many of us are even worried whether Nigeria will make the next Nations Cup. We're also even worried whether Nigeria will make the next World Cup. And so you see right now, that arrogance that we used to describe every other country, in the next few years, they will begin to describe once there was a giant.
Well, let me help that arrogance of Nigeria, because I can also tell you that not only in the COSAFA or WAFU, when it comes to the African continent, there's also the CAF Confederations Cup, which is ongoing, and I can tell you that holders, TP Mazembe of Congo and South Africa's SuperSport United have all advanced to the quarterfinals of the CAF Confederations Cup, and our dear own Rivers United of Nigeria have crashed out of that particular tournament. So it comes back to what you're saying.
Yes, that's the indices. It's clear, except we do not want to look at the mirror and allow the mirror really reflect for us.
But I asked the question, offline. Is this a question of a lack of talent, or is it a lack of winning mentality? Is it a lack of the winning psychology? What is it that Nigeria lacks when it comes to the African stage?
No, before we go into lack of what we lack, let us look at what are those things that are our strength. Somehow, I think when it comes to certain kind of sports, it's natural for us. You get it? It's just like it's natural for us that we just get it right. It's there in our DNA. And football is one of that sport, or one of those sports rather, because you could see the British team that went to win the under 15 World, was it under 15 World Cup. You could see the British team. It was very, very clear that they had how many Nigerians?
About 5 of them.
Is it 5 or 7?
Yeah, I think it was up to maybe like 6 or
6 or 7 or thereabout.
Yeah.
It tells you that it is very, very natural for us. It just comes natural, as if we are wired to play football. But you see, it goes beyond talent. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scene that should be right. The puzzle, the pieces of the puzzle, there are 1,001 things that on the puzzle board. Management,
coaching,
the infrastructure,
players, remuneration,
and all of those things. There are too many things. You need age grade football. How many of those clubs that you are talking about today have under 15 team, under 12 team? How many of them have this? Is there a progression in the way the players play? How many of those clubs are affiliated to schools in a particular area? All of those things. Because you see, it is difficult teaching an old dog new tricks. So that's the first problem you are finding, that many of our players are not really schooled in what I call the science of football. They just go there with their raw talent. But before you understand what's happening, when they meet those who are schooled in the act of football, they fizzle out. And that is what is happening. So we should just look at, we have a problem with the coaching.
But I can understand that on the world stage. But
even in Africa.
Within Africa, are you
yes,
saying
it's the
that
same.
Other African nations are better schooled than Nigeria?
They've built a robust and very, very, very viable structure that is grooming and growing their soccer. And very soon, I won't say very soon, they've left us behind. We are now doing catch-up. Nigeria is actually doing catch-up. And it's unfortunate. While we should be the one teaching them. You understand? Sure. We are the ones, our players are looking for ways of going to play under the guise of we are going to play professional football. They are ready to go to even play. I think they said there was once a Nigerian player who went to Niger to go and play professional football. You can see, it looks like a joke, but it tells there are a lot of things that are wrong. That's the long and short of it.
We've been discussing quite a number of top stories coming across from the beautiful round leather game. Let's come back home and discuss, in Nigeria, there's the CHAN qualifier coming up, and should I call him the assistant coach to Janet Raw, or the coach for the home-based Super Eagles. So Salisu Yusuf. He's released a 30-man list of players, that would get ready to prosecute the CHAN qualifiers. Goalkeeper includes the likes of Ikechukwu Ezenwa of FC Ifeanyi Dele Ajiboye of Plateau United, defenders Chima Akas, of course, a notable name, Enyimba FC, Osas Okoro of Rangers International, midfielders Ifeanyi of Akwa United, and Alassane Ibrahim also of Akwa United. Attackers, of course, the trio of Mfon Udo of Enyimba, Sikru Olatubosun of MFM, and also teenage sensation Stephen Ode, also topping the list. A host of other names, that I haven't read out. All right, moving down more into the Nigerian League, talking about the MPFL. There was the match week 28, and I can tell you that Plateau United are still topping the league with 51 points. They defeated Akwa United, who happened to be fourth on the log just this past week. MFMFC are 42nd on the log, although MFMFC had their match postponed because Rivers United, their opponents, were playing in the CAF Confederations Cup. Enyimba of Aba, they have 44 points and they are third on the log, while of course Akwa United are fourth on the log with 43 points. Enyimba defeated Niger Tornadoes 3-0. I think surprisingly on the day was that Sunshine Stars, got a 4-2 victory away from home. That was the only away victory recorded in match week 28 over ABS of Ilorin. Yeah, but basically that's what took place in the MPFL. Any surprises for you? Any talking points for you?
No. First for me, sincerely,
looks like they would win the league.
It's obvious that they would. Early in the earlier stanza of the league, a lot of people were making so much noise about MFL, but they fizzled out.
No, they didn't fizzle out. Well, they're still. 46 points to 51 points isn't a lot.
Well,
you just need to maybe lose one match, draw one.
So why you use the word fizzle out? Because at the end of the day,
it looked like
a lot of people are recording away losses, and because you are recording away losses, then therefore the only advantage you have is that when you come.
Isn't that suspect though?
That is the question. That is why you see at the end of the day we ask ourselves that are we doing what we're doing? Is it right? Or what are those things that we are doing?
And majority of fans can't even see these matches.
We can't see the match. We can't judge, except we actually have to travel the distance and go to the stadium to go and watch the matches. So, and you are no ghost, so you cannot be in 3 stadiums at the same time. So you can only go for one match at a particular time. So at the end of the day, and when you go there, you don't record it. So some of these things, they all add up. That's the long and short of what I'm saying. So for me,
there was also a funny incident of a postponed match between Remo Stars versus FC Ifeanyi because about 13 players of Remo Stars had food poisoning.
And we are lucky that it didn't lead to loss of life, and we thank God.
So they had to postpone the match.
I also thank the LMC for the magnanimity where they allowed the match to be postponed. So
that had to happen. If it didn't happen, I would have suspected foul play.
So at the end of the day, we congratulate them for doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, in our current dispensation, we begin to see a lot of people don't do the right thing. So when we see someone doing the right thing, we expect to say, "Oh, well done." At this time, you got the right that you postponed the match. Secondly, we have to also be, especially at that level, at the club level. I can assure you. The food the players eat, how do they prepare it? Do they have a coaching, a catering, nutritionist? Do you have a catering team that goes around with the players wherever they go, whether they're at home? All of these things add to your diets and all of those. They come to bear because I don't know. They say they ate Is it egusi and is it something and a pounded yam and egusi or a ban egusi or something and egusi?
Same thing that Anthony Joshua ate and he became a world champion.
Because you see, where Anthony Joshua is eating egusi and a pounded yam, he needs the weight. He needs the weight to be able to throw, to make those punches effective. But as a footballer, if you eat those kind of things that will set you at the bottom of the tummy, only God knows whether you can run. But you see, the long and short, it's we
All
are
right,
grateful
so,
that it was not worse.
we are grateful that they didn't lose their lives. But moving on, somebody did had to lose his life. A Sierra Leonean goalkeeper, Alhaji Dauda Conte, aged 25, died in this past week after a short illness. A promising goalkeeper. He plies his trade in Guinea. But he's from Sierra Leone and he's dead now. Just a short illness. They were having a training session and the coach had to tell him to leave because he wasn't feeling fine, and that was it. Went to the hospital and he's gone.
That's Africa. That's how I put it. It's sympathetic. We sympathize with his family. We sympathize with the Guinean
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone FA. We sympathize with his country and all of that. We share your loss. We just have to ask ourselves quite a number of questions, and whether we are ready for sports, or whether our health infrastructure has been wired to take care of some of the challenges that sports throw at us. Because many of our sports, not all sports, your conditioning needs to be up and top notch. That's what your condition needs to be. But we now see we don't know whether there's an autopsy. We don't know the cause of his death, whether blood pressure, high blood pressure. You can imagine. Remember in Europe, before you can go and play in any of these, before you play in any
That's
of
why
the
they
matches,
have medicals.
the kind of medicals, the kind of things they put you through. In England, I remember the time that Kalum Wako came from is it Netherlands? He came from Ajax to Arsenal. And look at, in the process of his medical, it was discovered that he had a defective heart, and they had to take care of it. So those kind of a thing, which day will we get there in Africa? That's the question. We need to do it the right way.
So talking about the Sierra Leonean, the young goalkeeper, Alhaji Dauda Conte, who lost his life. I mean, also in Nigeria, we have the sad story also. Thank God he didn't lead to death, but it's still equally a sad story of Kali Keme, the goalkeeper. I mean, not since Vincent Eyama, as the Nigerian Super Eagles had a capable goalkeeper, and it looked like after the departure of Vincent Eyama, it looked like Kali Keme was the go-to man, who has been doing well for the Super Eagles. And there was a time he was actually injured, and he went on injury, and then he was back, and we were hoping that the likes of Daniel Akpeyi, who had been deputizing for him, can go back to their deputy positions while he assumes his position in between the six, but only for us to hear of the sad news that Kali Keme, of Wolverhampton Wanderers in the UK, has been diagnosed with acute leukemia. It's terrible. Although we do hear that he's undergone chemotherapy, and we can only hope that he makes a speedy recovery. Although that might mean that he would have to retire from football.
Sad news. We stand with him. We stand with his family at this very trying time in his life. We here in Ascent TV, we share the pains. If there's a way we could do something that could reverse it, I think we do. But generally, it's not the good news. It also points to the fact that we here in this country, we need to, especially when it comes to sports medicine, we need to do more than what we are doing. At this time when Kali Keme is, One point I need to make here is, you see, these are some of the reasons why I always say when you go and bring professionals into playing a national team, and at the end of the day, the professionals are demanding a lot of money these days as what we call it, as match bonuses. I classify most of those things like hiring a mercenary to go and do it. Yes, we share the pains and everything, and that's why at times like this, sometimes people like us that want to be objective will say, why not? We have always paid you to come out. But we won't say that now. We share in his grief and we say, look, we wish him speedy recovery. We wish him to fight leukemia. It's no joke. It's going to be tough. It's going to be trying. But all the way, he's in our prayers. That's the best we can give him at this time. We just pray for him and pray for him and pray for him and ask God to have mercy and fix him.
We hope he makes a speedy recovery. All right, we do pray for Kyle leukemia and hope that he makes total recovery from this acute leukemia. All right, viewers at home, we would like to get your feedback. What do you think about some of these talking points? And share with us on all our social media handles, on Twitter, on Facebook, and also on YouTube. Follow ASEN TV, ASENN TV on Twitter and also Facebook, and ASEN TV, 1N on YouTube. All right, till we come your way again. Thank you and God bless.